Welcome, adventurers, to Probability of Demise, the podcast where critical fumbles meet critical facepalms. Join us as we delve into the darkest dungeons, slay the stupidest gremlins, and roll enough ones to make a beholder weep. Forget epic storylines and heroic deeds. Here we celebrate the chaotic beauty of bad rolls, questionable decisions, and characters with more charisma than sense. We'll be your dungeon masters of disappointment, guiding you through campaigns where the only guaranteed treasure is a mountain of laughter, and maybe some psychic scarring. So grab your Nat 1 dice, strap on your anxiety helmets, and prepare to witness the glorious train wreck that is our D&D journey. Because, in the end, even if your character dies face first into a pile of pudding, at least you'll have the dice god's permission to laugh your ass off.
Word of the day.
Oh, me.
We did the whole thing already, Jess. We've been waiting on you for a long time.
My bad. Oh, my thing is very cold.
Welcome to Probability of Demise, the podcast where you mess with your friends because they don't know better. They were distracted. We're so happy you're here to join us. We hope you like, subscribe, and do all the wonderful things for us because we will do all those wonderful things for you. No, I don't know what wonderful things you want us to do. Never mind. I should not make promises.
Wrong type of account.
Okay, perfect. All right,
what type of
folks.
account do you make promises like that?
OnlyFans?
Oh my gosh. A D&D OnlyFans.
They don't probably use...
You roll for success.
I'm sure that's got to be like Rule 34. If someone hasn't done it, do it and then tell us how good it works and give us a cut.
Yeah.
Word of the day.
I'm not ashamed. I'll take your porn money.
Hey, stop talking about porn during my segment. This is a professional podcast, all right? Okay. Hello, folks. Welcome to Probability of Demise, where we're very professional and we only talk about appropriate
Porn.
things. Today, I have once again rolled my magical, very cold D100 that Jason bought me. D100. Today, I rolled a 57. And today's word of the day is...
Pornography.
Habit. It is not.
You're the worst. Stop it.
Double the inspiration points if you use the term that she's about to say in a pornography-based line during the session.
You could, because today's word is habdominal, which means weekly, basically. It is spelled Hebdomadal. Used in a sentence, the party gathered with anticipation for the habdominal episode of Probability of Demise, their favorite weekly D&D podcast, eager to hear the next thrilling twist in the campaign.
Yay. New
my
word
God.
that I don't know. Can't even spell it.
You didn't know that word?
No.
Oh, I love when you don't know the word.
I've never heard that word either.
Victory.
Habdominal.
Abdominal.
Abdominal.
Okay. Sounds like a
Just say, "How about
surgery.
everybody?"
Welcome back to Probability of Demise, the podcast where pods pod and adventures unfold. In our last session, our intrepid investigators delved deep into the mystery surrounding the death of the last heir of Grand's Brands. After a surreal journey into the Fey realm, they unlocked crucial information from the Mirror of Recording, revealing unsettling details about the night of the murder.
Very
Seraphina,
unsettling.
Alua, and Gus have discovered that the victim Grand was under a powerful spell and stripped of his magical defenses, making him vulnerable to the fatal attack. The recording also implicated Seraphina's brother and Alua's friend Oksana, though there are suspicions of shape-changing magic at play. As we pick up the story, Serafina is about to engage in a tense conversation with the widowed Grand in the library, while Gus and Alua piece together the clues that they've uncovered. The stakes are higher than ever as they navigate the treacherous water of Overton's power struggles, seeking to uncover the truth and bring justice to the city on the brink of transformation. Stay tuned as our heroes continue their investigation, unraveling the threads of intrigue and deception in the heart of Overton.
I could go for a good steak, let me tell you.
Serafina, you've been in this office for a heartbeat. You've met and spoken briefly to Brand's widow, and she seems to be hard at work on some sort of paperwork situation. You had an interest in
what
books,
is her name
but
again?
also
For Jessica's brain?
Mrs. Grand.
you all didn't ask at the.
We didn't
This would be an
ask. Okay,
opportunity,
good.
Serafina,
Good
for
to know.
you to ask.
It's good, it's good, it's good.
Okay. So, when I walk in, you said she's doing stuff. I assume there's maybe a couch, a chair, just somewhere to sit.
I mean, it's a library space. She's sitting at a desk, and there does appear to be a lounger,
A chaise.
perhaps.
I love a good chaise.
I'd like to walk in and do a nod of the head of a greeting, and say, my friends, my colleagues are reviewing the mirror a little bit more. I needed to step away. Do you mind if I look at your books? I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big reader myself, but a distraction would be nice.
Certainly, feel free to peruse the library. If there's a lock, unless you're studying the arts, I would suggest you don't open it. But what was in the mirror? What, the mirror?
Yeah, the timey, and showed everything that was happening in there, and it got you out of being a subject. A subject? Not a subject. A suspect.
But weren't there notes about what had occurred? I mean, they wrote down, they had a individual who was writing down word for word what was happening and putting down descriptions. That didn't...
Mm-mm. It did happen. I'm not honestly sure how much I'm supposed to say to you.
Oh, so I'm still under suspicion. Well, feel free to peruse the library, and I'm going to get back to my work here. And then she says that you hear a pin tip snap. And she busies herself pulling out a new pen from the drawers.
I want to start walking over to the shelf on the left. I don't know, picking on a random shelf,
Okay,
and starting to just kind of
Chef on the left.
See, it's hard to say the shelf on the left. It's hard.
So you went left to the shelf on the left.
Yep, and I'm just kind of looking at the books, and then maybe a minute or two later, once I'm looking, I want to, without looking at her, I just kind of call over and say, everything that was written down in that report was changed. Me and Alua were able to figure out most of the information that was changed and what it was actually supposed to say, but we couldn't figure out the very last bit until the end. And so that's why we came here, to look at the mirror. And we
figured it out last
we
time.
saw...
I the last lock we got last time. The last we broke it.
Yeah. And we saw who, killed your husband.
And do you know who those people are? I do remember them saying that they had identified the murderers, but nothing has seemed to happen. They didn't seem to know who they were.
Well, as frustrated as I am, I'm fairly certain that whoever actually did it didn't look like themselves. But
You hear a
the
little-
people they chose to look like are close to me and one other person.
So you're involved.
So that's...
And you're investigating. And you're in my home.
I'm not involved.
You see her eyes dart really quickly to her ornamental looking figurine on her desk. Maybe I'm going to have to ask you all to leave.
Why?
You just admitted to possibly being connected to the people who've murdered my husband. Does that not strike you as suspicious?
You're right. It would seem that way, but I also know that at least one of the people who it appeared to be would never actually do that. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd love your assistance to continue to look and figure this out, to figure out who actually did this.
Her gaze does not waver from the ornamental object on her desk. And as you finish your sentence, she looks at you in the eye. What you say is true. But this makes me very uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable.
And she pushes back from the desk.
I'm uncomfortable too, if it makes you feel any better. Actually, I don't even know your name. I'm Serafina, by the way.
Serafina, I'm Miss Brand now.
Just Miss Brand? No first name?
Those intimate
No
with
middle
me-
name?
Those intimate with me, my friends, may know me as Hypatia.
Wow, that's a really pretty name.
I appreciate that, but seeing as we're in a professional relationship at this moment, I think it best if you refer to me as Miss Brand.
Of course, Miss Brand. Great. So, what you working on?
Does this pertain to the case?
No.
Well,
Like
I'll
I said,
indulge your
I want to
interest.
just...
These are Papers to continue the legacy of Grand's brands past the current unfortunate circumstances. There's a lot of individuals who have interests, and it can't all fall apart with the end of the family line. I did warn... Well, who's going to listen to... Please. Just papers for the work.
Cool.
Do you
Cool.
have an ailment?
Do I have like a boo-boo? Like, do I have like a cut?
You keep making a strange sound.
Oh, it's called awkwardness. Yeah, I don't, See, usually I would do like investigating stuff with my brother, but he's gone. He's not like dead. Well, he might be dead. I'm hoping he's not dead. I don't know where he is right now. I'm trying to find him. And now I've been doing investigating stuff with my two friends over there. But they're in there, and now I'm in here. So I can't hide behind them, because I normally just hide behind them when I'm feeling uncomfortable, and they're not here to hide behind. So now I'm just making small talk, and small talk's very uncomfortable, and I don't know why we even need to make small talk. I feel like silence is pretty good of a... yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like awkward. Awkward is entertaining. Would you entertain me a little further?
Yes.
Your brother, is he, apologies, tense has changed around here recently. Would you say that your brother is a formidable investigator? Successful in his work?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If your brother were in the home of a victim's library, what would your brother look into?
If I could answer that question, I would probably be a partner with him instead of just like a little sidekick who helps with things.
Well, you're not a sidekick now, are you?
I still feel like it sometimes, but that's where I kind of feel comfortable, I guess, sometimes.
Well, as a arcane researcher, that's what I was before I was Brand.
Good.
Being uncomfortable, it's the best. It's where you do the most for the world around you and those you love. So maybe get a little uncomfortable.
I'm going to walk over to her and go, may I?
May you get uncomfortable.
And I'm gonna, yeah.
And you're gonna what?
I was gonna touch you because I usually don't like physical touch, so I was gonna boop. I was trying to take your advice.
Did that help you with your case?
No. Well, I mean, I haven't done it yet. I don't know.
Would you like me to reach out to you?
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She cups your cheek and draws you up Alua and Gus, you finished watching them. You were recording a few times. Your friend hasn't come back over yet. You know that she went across to the. It is a frustrating, disturbing thing. You know that there's a chance that there's some sort of magic at play here. It's just really hard to reconcile the idea, despite, well, maybe Oksana has been acting a little shifty lately, but despite this, it just doesn't seem plausible.
Considering the fact that Brand was probably under some sort of spell, I'm going to, after reviewing it a few more times, go to speak to his widow to ask about, like, if he had kept like a date book or something for meetings where he recorded who he was meeting with.
Yeah. You open the door on the scene we just witnessed. Yes, my dear.
I just kind of do like a at Seraphina, and
He's just so red, uncomfortable. But like, it was kind of like nice, and then her crush walks in, and now she's uncomfortable again.
Anywho, did your husband happen to keep a calendar or something that he used to track the people that he met with? Maybe that would give us a clue. To us, it seems like he wasn't himself. You know, obviously, you have all of these resources and you have this prowess with magic, but it seemed like he was defenseless.
I was just told to be uncomfortable. That's what this was. I like blurt out.
Yeah. Yes. Be uncomfortable. Try out things that your brother would have done. I'm sorry. She's very confused again. Her hand slides away from Seraphina's cheek with just casualness. That is, it's clear that she didn't even read into this in any way whatsoever, other than just that engagement, and she is just showing complete disinterest in anything going on. But she turns to the desk and she pulls from underneath several pieces of different parchment and things that she's been working on, and I have his diary here. What dates were you looking for? And she starts flipping through it, and you can kind of easily look over her shoulder.
Well, was there, I guess, and I'm not asking this of thinking of you as a suspect. I'm only asking to help figure out the answer to your question. How often did you see your husband throughout the day, or maybe only mornings or evenings? How often did you spend time together on a regular day?
We always promised each other one day a month, just the two of us. It was our point of connection. If he had to go on business somewhere else in the world, he would teleport home, or I would teleport to him. Some locations, it was really wonderful to go there. There's only been once where we couldn't connect in that way, and that was ages ago, at least a couple of years ago. More recently, though, like, I was looking through his journal or his diary, and usually he has a pretty regular cadence. Business is business. Things don't, surprises aren't, I mean, there's the momentary surprises, but there's a cadence to everything. And there's been a new entry the last 2 months.
New entry? How do you mean?
Well, he's been going to a location in Underton that wasn't I don't know if there was maybe a new venture that he was pursuing there or what it was, but he was going down and meeting up at a tavern in Underton. I mean, it's fairly normal on the surface, except as I was trying to put together his diary, it seems like he just has cleared the schedule for something brand new, and we don't have any new products coming on. There's no big pushes coming. Honestly, we're kind of in a little bit of a creative lull for Grand's Brands. We were trying to figure out some new ideas, and so this entry just, there was no name, just the location.
Okay. And did your husband have an assistant? Someone who saw him on a more regular basis, maybe traveled with him, made meetings for him?
He handled his own diary. And she gestures, and yes, you can see from the handwriting it's his. He brought who he needed in the moment.
But it wasn't anyone consistent. I'm trying to figure out if there was anyone who may have noticed a change in his behavior in more recently, and so that would point us to a particular day to look at. So I wasn't sure if there was maybe an employee that traveled with him often, or if there was anyone in the last, I don't know, maybe
When you say
week.
change in behavior, what do you mean?
I mean, he seemed disarmed magically. So did he, if he came back from a meeting and just seemed a little bit more confused, or maybe even forgetful, or even carefree, as though maybe he was bespelled. Does that make sense, or does that sound?
I'm familiar with the types of spells that would enact upon someone, but nothing would be this long term.
So when did he arrive back from his last trip?
His last long-term trip, or just the humdrum and she gestures again to the diary where there's a bunch of entries, the regular cadence of things. His last big trip was a few months ago.
Okay, so then in terms of what you mean is every day, so his days when he was here and not traveling, were they?
Well,
Did they
he was
have
never here. I mean, he teleported all over the world all the time, but it was just for an hour or two meeting here and there.
Okay. Every time
What
I
about-
feel like I'm. Yes.
Go ahead. Sorry, Alua. No,
No.
go ahead.
No, I just was going to voice my frustration in that every time I feel like I'm possibly narrowing down an idea or an entryway, more doors just open up right next to it. What were you going to say?
Well, first, I absolutely agree with that. And second, I was just gonna ask, Miss Brands, what was the last time he went down to that tavern compared to the night of his passing? / how many times did he go to the tavern before his passing?
She hands you the diary, and it's, you can
Skim through
leafing
it.
through it. You can see that a couple months ago these entries start. They're consistent. They're always on the same day, same time, and the next one would have happened the night after the murder.
Does the location mean anything to me? Like, do I have any history with the location that he has written down?
Roll a history check.
Okay.
Gus, are you still in the other room?
History.
Gotcha.
Hoopla.
Oh,
That'll be a nat
It cut out
20 with...
hey! Pew, 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 pew.
Okay, we can add it in
plus
post.
whatever history is, which is something.
You must have spent some time while you were tinkering, trying to get some information, because this is a bar in the WhisperNet hub in Underton. It is a location that is whispered to have been one of the hubs of secrets and rumors and the training of spies under the famous Timeless Trio members. Although which one of them was responsible for that is always a shifting question mark in current society. But this location is just infamous for being a hub for knowledge, and not the type of knowledge that you can gain by reading a book necessarily, but more by negotiating and getting a deal. It's not a place that people well into their work usually go to. Someone like Grand would not likely be seen there. It is much more the place where people who are starting something up, figuring out something or doing some investigations of some sort. Your brother may even be the one who introduced you to the location. But it is a spot where rumors get traded.
Yeah, that's all I got. That was my question.
Okay. Ulua, as you are feeling stymied and stuck, can you roll an insight check?
Okay. It would be helpful if I had my stats up, because I'm...
Yeah, I had to pull mine up too.
I just knew my insight was high. I couldn't remember what it was. Ooh, that's not high. 12.
Ouch.
Yeah, with a +7 bonus. Doing good, folks. It's gonna be good.
You feel like there's something that Miss Brand is holding back. With that lower roll, I can't be more clear about the sensitivity or anything like that. Just you feel like there's something she's holding back.
Okay. And I look at her and I go, when you were being interviewed about, I guess interrogated as a suspect. I really don't like that word. Did the people who were working with you use any sort of magic to ensure that you and or they were speaking the truth?
Yes, although I will let you know those are easily bypassed.
True. If you, while I'm sure obviously, we see what what we saw in the mirror. And I'm assuming that my colleague has shared with you our budding theory, or at least part of it, as to the fact that we don't believe that those people were necessarily either themselves or as in bespelled or possibly being imitated. But in order to fully dismiss you as being involved, I would like your permission to interview you under a truth spell.
Certainly.
And I'm asking your permission because I don't want you to be under the impression that I'm doing it maliciously, but more to reassure you that both you and those of us within the realm of the spell would be being honest with each other. And you would be able to ask us questions as well. Although, to my knowledge, I don't think any of us have.
As you speak, you see her gaze flick multiple times to the ornamental object on her desk. And
Can I roll
she begins to...
I don't know. Can I roll something to see if I infer what that means? I don't know. Arcana? I don't know. Would I understand?
Like, are you trying to understand what the object is or what her visual cues are giving you?
What the object is. Like, would I recognize it, or like understand why?
Roll an Arcana check.
Oh yeah, this is gonna go well. Ooh, I mean that's not a bad roll, but I don't think my Arcana is all that high. 18.
You've almost given yourself the answer, you realize, as you're talking. And you look at this object, and she almost gave you the answer. These spells can be bypassed. But there are stronger things that can be brought to bear. Rituals, enchanted objects. And as you look at this little figurine, you can see a tiny, almost microscopic series of runes that trail down into the desk, and then from the desk into the floor. And now that you've noticed it, you realize this entire room is covered in these tiny runes. And I would invite you, if you wish to, cast a spell to understand the magic that is around you. If you don't have that ability, you are definitely in the headspace of this thing is active magic.
Mm-hmm.
And she says to you, I'm open to what you desire. It would only be fair. Then again, we might need to leave the room to make this happen.
All right. Well, are you comfortable going back in the room with the mirror?
Oh, we should not be casting spells in that room.
Okay. Is
Wait,
there another
why?
space? It would record us, I'm assuming, my dear.
Yeah, see, I knew that. I didn't know that.
My husband and I each had our own foibles. I detest lies. And he always wanted evidence. This room, of every transaction, every deal he made, he didn't mind the lies, which made him savvy and successful in business. But he always needed the contract to be signed and proof in hand. I can't stand the lies. And I can tell you with utmost certainty that both the investigators who interviewed me were liars to their core.
So, obviously, and I now glance over at the object, you'll understand when I say that we aren't working with them or for them. We are here to find the truth. But we can only do that if the people who want us to find the truth help us.
Yes, and I would love to be helpful. So if a truth spell would make you feel more comfortable, we can step out. Just know that it can't happen in this room.
Well, I guess since we've had this conversation, if it would bypass the necessity of that, would you care to share what it is that you're holding back? Honestly, it may not seem related or important, but what have we got to lose at this point? I mean,
Roll a persuasion check.
ooh. Don't fail me. Fuck. Yeah. Natural 20, which is a 29.
Ugh.
She's just like, well, I was born on a dark and stormy night.
One day in the 5th grade.
There was a bully. He picked on me on the playground.
You see her eyes twitch, and she just rests her hand on that little figurine and says, I've been piecing things together. And her hand withdraws from the little statuette. I fear we're dealing with something more insidious than a murder. You're going to think fantasy, but I suspect Slade are involved and that they've infiltrated the City Watch. She reaches to the desk and rifles through some of the materials for a moment, allowing you to speak.
That would make sense. I mean, especially considering as she says that, can I cross-check what I know of them and what if the eye thing that I saw with Oksana if that's something that would be a tell for that?
For the Slod, roll a history check.
All these intelligence rolls. I'm not smart. I'm just really charming.
You've got a very smart person in the room with you. Just gotta snap her out of it.
Really? No, I know.
Look, at some point here, I'm going to come in. Like, Gus is he's not doing it. He's investigating the other room, but just looking at the scene and trying to find clues.
Indicate when you would like to, and if you would like, I feel like that room is kind of exhausted now, so I'm sure you wrapped it up pretty quickly.
17.
I wandered in around the time that she
was sharing that
question. Yeah.
Okay, great. So you come in. You've heard the mention of Sled. For you, Ulua, you know a decent amount about the Sled. It must have been, as far as
plural.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The slutty would be the plural.
Okay.
You know that they have a base form. They just kind of look like bipedal frogs with really sharp claws on the end, wide mouths, pointed teeth, huge heads. They were some of the creatures that, or some of the beings that first lost their homes during the early times of the Timeless Trio. They trekked after their lake was drained and joined the ocean. They were a figure of individuals who trekked up into the mountains and disappeared from history for a while. But there are different types. They're a chaotic mess of a creature. They're not usually organized, although from the description of this situation, this seems like someone has gotten the slutty organized. And the biggest tell that triggers this all for you is that they have a ridiculously powerful polymorphing ability, which allows them to turn into humanoids. Their original hosts that they developed within. And you also know from those stories and that information that generally if it was their host, that means that the host is no more.
Is that always true or just generally?
You know that the more powerful Slod can turn into other humanoids after having developed to that level. But the easiest transformation for a slutty is to their original host's form.
Cute. Great.
Can I roll a slot history to see if I know any of this?
Sure. Go ahead and roll that history check as well.
I don't know shit.
As she pulls up the book
10.
that she was reaching for, is it? Yeah. You know that there's a people called Blood that were kind of not seen very often or very much. There's inconsistencies in the reports. Some of the officers, there's gaps, and it all points to a coordinated effort to obscure the truth. I've observed a few of our watch captains, Thorn and Vex. Their mannerisms, while subtle, have changed. The way they speak, the way they carry themselves, it's as if they're wearing... Well, she taps a place on a page and moves it towards you all to be able to read. There's evidence consistently missing from some of the crimes that have occurred. Not crimes that would gain wider attention, but small things here and there. And well, I really do think it's odd because they're masters of infiltration and they enjoy chaos. So if they've taken over key positions in the watch, they could be manipulating the entire investigation, the entire city. There were recent events in the city that just reeked of chaos. And
Lua just shifts a little uncomfortably. Well, we've also been a little bit chaotically active the last few weeks.
You watch as the entire room goes blindingly white at the end of your statement. And she goes, why are you lying now?
Okay. And I just kind of, and I say, okay, we were a lot chaotically active this week, and just kind of look around and wait for the room to react.
The room does not react in any way.
I feel like that's subjective, but okay. And I'm a little offended.
The room flashes a little bit.
I am. Wait, what?
It was us who collapsed the temple.
Okay.
That's the biggest chaos.
It flashes white.
Yes, that's not true. We did not collapse the temple. There was a bomb essentially already planted, and in order to a poison explosion planned, and in order to keep that from infecting the water sources, we had to
collapse the temple.
Yeah, but only a specific part of it. It was going to collapse because, well, it was going to explode.
It did explode. Part of it.
Yeah, yes.
Anyway.
Which I'm assuming made it.
Do you think you might have been put up to that?
Put up to it? How do you mean?
Well, what led to you going into the temple and...
We were looking for the source of the wyvern's venom being produced in the city.
Another piece of evidence, and she flips the page and shows you a page where she talks about the infusion of drugs into the city and how it's creating more chaos.
Yes, well, I mean, poor Seraphina's father was just essentially addicted to it and is still trying to recover. Amongst others, but
I think that you need to be extremely careful moving forward and don't trust any official channels. Every step you take, every piece of information you uncover, verify it independent of the authority.
I mean, that's...
I don't know if you know much of who I am or my history, but it's been a long time since I've trusted any authority in this city.
Well, I'm sure there's a file here somewhere on you, and I will find it and verify. As I said, verify independently.
So, it sounds like in order to move forward, it would be best to check out this tavern.
It was my next step, but I don't exactly fit in.
Well, I think it might be better if do you trust the people in your household?
There's only one left.
Do you trust them?
Implicitly.
Good. Okay. Then I would advise staying inside. Perhaps, claiming...
I have an empire to keep running. Maybe a business empire, but I will not be able to stay inside. I also will not be staying in the city. But feel free to reach out to me should you need to. And she hands you a small stone.
I know what that is.
It's a city crawling with shapeshifters. Trust isn't a luxury we can afford, and I fear you're not just solving a murder anymore, and I might be running away from finding the answers myself in order to protect my husband's legacy.
Well, you know that you have at least 3 people here who are on your side and are actively working to help you. So you're not alone. And I understand you needing to leave and to run your family's business, but I hope that you are also able to take as many precautions as possible while doing so.
We'll see where things take us, won't we? Life is to be lived.
Do you have any?
Yes.
Do you have any books on the study in here that I could borrow?
Funnily enough, I've collected a few to expand the library in recent days, so you're welcome to them. I need to go figure out what's going on with the city of Mourning. Our trade envoys have not been going through, and I wish you all the best. The library is yours.
Burke, is that the flying city that's supposed to be coming that's not coming?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we heard that the flying city that's approaching is not what people thought.
Yes, I was able to share that news. I'm actually quite disturbed about this new floating city. It's not one I was aware of. But wealth everywhere, right? The tides of magic are rising high. And she says that. She turns, opens a doorway, and you can see as she's opening the doorway, there's a pile of books, Gus, that are all varied titles relating to the slutty. And I hope you can find your way out. And if not, shout. She'll help you. And as she steps through the door, as you say thank you, you just see parts of her body disappear as she steps through the door. And then she's gone.
Can I roll an investigation check, just like retroactively, to see if I found anything else in that room? Because I don't think I did anything with the mirror. I was just hoping, like, to find like some cleanup evidence they missed or something. But
yeah, no problem.
Never mind. I rolled a 4.
Yeah, you found 4 toothpicks. Investigators should not litter, and you know the investigator that uses these. They should know better.
Which also means if that was one of the 2 investigators that was interviewing the widow, that she was, or that they were lying.
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat after he rolls? I got disconnected a little. What happened? I got up to the rolling.
Gus found 4 toothpicks.
But there, if you recall, there's at least one person on the watch who always has a toothpick in his mouth.
Mortal enemy. My nemesis.
Nemesis?
Nemesis.
And you found them in this room.
I found them in the murder room.
The recording room.
In the other room. Got it.
What makes you think it was murder?
In the stab room.
In the stab. Okay. I think that's a wrap.
And cut.
Thank you for joining us on Probability of Demise. The end of the demise. A few more clues uncovered. Some information revealed. Unless Serafina had a last minute thing to share. After the awkwardness and now potential relationship disaster she's going to have to fix.
No, Jessica was sad that we're ending.
My only thing is next time I want to go to that place, but I want to go there on the time and day that he usually would go there.
Yeah.
Amazingly enough, that is when you're going to be there.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Look at that.
How convenient.
What a coincidence.
Love D&D magic.
That's how D&D works. Timey-wimey stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful time. Find your own pod. These are people mine. I'm not sharing. Bye-bye.
My
pod.
Okay, bye.
Bye.